All right, so this one I'm very, very excited for. Welcome back to the family table. Someone that I've known for, well, you've probably known me since what, I was 5 years old?
Oh God, I think so, yeah.
My brother was 13 when I was born.
Right.
And then what, you started dating Ned when you were 17?
Correct.
So this is Laura, your maiden name is actually...
Polito.
Polito.
Yeah.
Married into the Regenovich family, big Nedju, who just walked out of the door. You might see some people walking in and out, but when I first came up with this concept for the family table, Laura was one of the first people that said, I would love to do this if you ever get into Chicago to honor your mom, who is Josi.
Yes.
Right? And she, from just the little bit that you've told me so far, she was the cornerstone of what was happening, right? Absolutely. We grew up about 3 or 4 blocks away from each other. I never had the grace to know your mom, but you started to tell me she lived in that kitchen.
All the time. Always cooking. I learned everything from her.
And so when she was always cooking, was it always just for your family, or was it?
Well, people would actually come over just for my mom's food. I mean, my aunt would live in Lansing, and she would come our way just to have my mom's food. What do you got on the table today? What's for dinner?
Okay, so to give that perspective, 97th Street and Commercials, where Laura grew up. I grew up on 100th Street in Escanaba, basically 100th Street and Commercial, 3 blocks away from each other. Lansing is, back then, it's probably 30 to 40 minutes,
yeah,
right? The expressways have made it easier. Maybe not in Chicago because of its construction, but people were coming 30 or 40 minutes to have your mom's cooking. So when you would go to school and you would come home, was it like 5 o'clock was dinner time, or like how did it work in your family?
Well, my dad was shift work, so he worked for U.S. Steel, so he was sometimes 3 to 11, so it would just depend.
Okay.
Some of the times he wasn't home when we would get home from school, but she always made sure that we had food on the table. And,
okay.
And our basics were there was always hot sauce in the fridge. She would burn her peppers and smoke the whole house, where you would inhale the peppers and just cough continuously. So she always had peppers in the house, and she would try to make a batch at a time so as not to make them constantly all the time. But she always had chile in the fridge all the time.
And did she use, so she had chile in the fridge.
Yeah.
Was that the base for a salsa and the base for a sauce?
Always.
And how did that work?
If we had, it was a meat, we always made tacos out of steak, and then you always put your hot sauce on it. Chile was just used for everything. I mean,
okay.
My mom constantly made flour tortillas were always homemade, always in the house. And the way we make it, and the way you'll see us eat them, is as soon as they get off the griddle, butter and hot sauce rolled up.
Oh, wait, butter and hot sauce?
Oh, delicious.
Okay, because there's a lot of Hispanic families, Latin families where we grew up. The Perez family would put butter and salt on theirs.
No, I add salt, but there's got to be
you got to have a little hot sauce on it.
A little hot sauce.
Listen, that's my love language. Hot sauce is my love language, so you don't have to convince me to eat hot sauce. But like the chile was always in the fridge?
Always.
Were there always tortillas?
Always tortillas.
Did she make them every day?
So when she would make them, we would be frustrated because you have to let the dough set, right?
Yeah.
So we would be so hungry, and we're like, when are they going to be ready?
Yeah.
So as you see, when we make them, you have to wrap them for at least 20 minutes, and then you form your little donuts, and then you got to let them sit again for another like 15 minutes, and then you roll them out, and then we will finally eat.
Okay, so how did she translate the recipes to you?
So my mom is not a writing down a recipe ever. It was always a little this and a little of that. So I tried to, I would always watch her. So I would start writing down because nothing was ever measured. So
you took it upon yourself.
I took it upon myself because I wanted to carry the recipes down, and I wanted to make sure I knew, I never would forget how to make anything. So I would write them down.
Wow. So give me the rundown of what we're going to do today. We got 3 things set up here, and they're empty right now,
yeah,
but they're soon to be full.
Right.
Give me the walkthrough of what we are doing today.
Okay, so I picked 3 of my mom's favorites. So obviously my mom always had flour tortillas. We're going to do the flour tortillas. The treat at our house, although I would have to say she made it at least once a month because ribs were expensive. I mean, they're expensive now.
Yeah.
They were certainly expensive way back then. So about once a month we would have, so it's called costillas con chile. So it's short ribs with chile hot sauce. And
Okay.
it's a mild hot sauce, and everyone can make it on their however hot they want to make it.
Yeah. Spice level.
Right.
You could alter the spice
And then
level.
Mexican rice, of course, and that was another staple always in the house.
Okay, so always Mexican rice. We're gonna do these ribs that I think they're gonna take hours.
So
right?
they take about 2.5 to 3 hours. To
Okay.
cook. Yeah.
So tortillas, some ribs in this chili sauce, this rice. We're gonna honor Josie. Look at how beautiful she is.
That's Mom.
This is Mom right here. She got pictures of the family out when Josie was little, pictures of her when Laura when she was growing up. So this is gonna be super exciting. We're just outside of Chicago right now in Dyer, Indiana, Northwest Indiana. I can hear it. You can't because we're inside. People are starting to congregate in this garage here. They're starting to get some drinks in there. We got family coming over. We got friends coming over. We have people that we haven't seen coming over. It's going to be a great day. Settle in because you're going to learn some authentic stuff right now on the family table.
All right.
All right, so we're in the backyard, beautiful backyard, tons of grass. You don't see it in Arizona very often, so it's a little treat. We're getting the grill hot. These are St. Louis ribs, but I had to say, well, we're just gonna cut these ribs up. Maybe we shouldn't film it, but we should because this isn't a normal cut.
No,
What do you?
This is a slab of ribs, but I find these in the grocery store. They're already split down the middle because we want short ribs. We don't want a whole long
So
rib.
you don't want this spare rib that's like this.
No, we're
this
gonna-
butcher actually cuts that big rib in half.
They're already like this. I didn't even ask them to do
Got
this.
it,
That's
okay.
just the way in this neighborhood. I think it's because it's mostly Hispanic. You could find them like that around
Wait,
here.
so do you actually think you bought this
I bought it.
in our old neighborhood
Yeah, Pete's.
by Rowan Park, 118th Street?
Uh-huh. But they have them
You
here
think
at
they-
Waltz. They have
okay.
them like that in Waltz.
Okay, so do you think that they cut them specifically
Yeah.
for the Hispanic population that's in the area?
Don't know if it's for the population, but it's definitely a short rib.
Yeah, because we do not have these in Arizona like this, although we have a ton. But I have to assume they're cut like that for a reason. So let's take a look at these.
So this is why we're just gonna cut them into smaller pieces.
Okay,
So I usually do two
bones.
Two bones.
Okay, so we're finding the bone. I got one bone, 2 bones, and then I just take a little slice of there.
Yep. Right. We're just
Okay,
gonna throw it in.
and we don't have to do anything to the back. We don't have
Nope.
to trim fat. We don't have to do
No,
anything.
We want the fat. We want it to soak in all that flavoring.
Okay. And then once we get these broke down into the 2 bone sections, what are we going to do with them then?
So I'm gonna throw some water on the bottom of those pans so that they kind of steam
On the grill.
on the grill, and I'm gonna cover it with tin foil. And then I'm gonna cook them for about an hour, and then after about an hour, I'm gonna add my salt to it. And that's the only thing that's in there is water and salt.
Okay.
After that, about an hour before they're done, so they're gonna take about 2.5 to 3 hours. We're going to take the tin foil off, and we're gonna make sure that all the water has dissipated because we want it to start cooking and browning in its fats.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to finish cutting these up. We'll show you the next step. Once we get these on the grill, we're going to go inside, and I think we're going to make some tortillas.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so the ribs are in this pan, about a 1/4 inch of water on the bottom, just enough to get them to start steam up. Cover them with aluminum foil once you put the water in there. They're gonna go onto this grill. How hot is the grill?
So I want to get my grill about 350 degrees. So I don't do direct heat. I only did the left and the right side. So we're gonna check the temperature. I didn't even check it yet.
Let's see.
So I can probably get
It's a little, yeah, it's about 400.
Yeah, so I'm gonna lower this.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna put it right in the middle here.
So it kind of almost is like a convection.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so we're gonna put these to bed for how long?
So we're gonna do about an hour, and then I'm gonna put my salt on here, but they're gonna cook for a total about 2.5 to 3 hours.
Okay, 1 hour. We'll come back and do the check on the ribs. Let's go make some tortillas. So if you know me, you know that I blew tortillas. Did you watch my tortilla
I did.
video? Okay, so I messed that up 3 different times, tortillas. So we're gonna learn a different method now, and this was the way that your mom made it, right?
So Mom made it with lard. I don't use lard, I use vegetable oil. I just feel like lard is, I don't know. it's just
When
too
did you
heavy.
change? When did you say, all right, I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to go this
I
way?
never went the lard route. I always did vegetable oil
Always
because
oil.
I feel like my mom always used lard for everything, and I felt like I wasn't going to use lard for everything. So I just felt like it was more healthier to use oil.
All right, so although it's an ode to her mom, this is actually you.
This is
you. So
This is me,
What do
yeah.
we got? Walk us through. What do we got?
So you have to make sure you have a nice big towel.
That's a towel. Yeah.
To put your dough in to wrap up, and we're going to let this sit for 20 minutes as soon as we make our dough.
Okay.
So I'm going to
So
put
grab
that to
the
the
towel.
side. I'm going to take 5 cups of flour.
You measure it.
I already measured it. I put it in here.
Okay.
And then for every cup of flour, you're going to use a teaspoon of baking powder. Not
Powder.
soda, baking powder.
So 5 teaspoons.
5 teaspoons of baking powder, which I've already measured. And I'm going to throw that in there.
All right.
And then for salt wise, like my mom never measured anything, so I'm going to do a good quarter size of salt.
What'd you say? Quarter size?
Quarter size.
Like
So-
like an actual money quarter?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go.
That's a quarter.
Yeah.
All right.
A big heavy quarter.
A big quarter.
Yeah.
We'll call it, we'll call it a $50.
And then we're adding our vegetable oil, which I already measured.
Look at you.
And for that, it's a tablespoon of vegetable oil for every cup of flour. So I have 5 tablespoons of vegetable oil.
So far, this is very, very easy to follow. because
Very easy.
It's a very
Oh,
linear.
So I forgot to tell you, in the meantime, we should have put our hot water on because you need very hot water.
I'll get that going.
So I have 2 cups of water. Here's the thing, it's a feel thing. You want to kind of get it just a little sticky, but not too sticky.
So you don't know that you're going to use all
I don't
of
think
this.
I'm going to use all
Okay,
of it.
well, let's see what
All
happens.
right. So I'm going to put it.
What's your guess before you pour it?
I think it's going to be about 1.25 cups.
Okay, 1.25 cups. Let's see. So you started with 2.
And I'm going to do that. So I'm going to start mixing.
Okay.
And I feel like we got a good consistency right now.
You like
So
where
how much
you like
do
where
I
that's
have
at?
left? I can't see. Is it a
Oh,
quarter?
no, let me see.
I started off with 2.
Just under 4 ounces.
Oh, so is that a half? No, that's a quarter right there, right? So I used 1 3/4 actually. So this feels real good.
Okay. So I'm going to get rid of this
You
water.
want to wrap this for about 20 minutes in your cloth right here.
Okay, so wrap this for 20 minutes. And is it just room temperature?
Just room temperature.
Okay. Room temperature, 20 minutes on the dough ball. You gotta make use of your time though. I'm sure your mom, when she was making all this food, she was always making use of her time. So while that rests,
We're gonna make a rice.
There you go. Let's
gonna
make
make
some
a
rice. All right, super excited for this because I love Spanish rice or Mexican rice or just that fluffy side item that you get with the refried beans. And I can tell, Rob, go ahead and show. We're gonna build this. Like, we're not gonna walk through all the exact ingredients, but homemade chicken broth, some whole tomatoes that you blended up. Walk me through this process because if you said, Nick, here's these ingredients, go do it, I would be like, okay, I would make rice first, but you're actually gonna saute rice
We're
first.
gonna saute our rice.
Okay, so go ahead.
So we're
What
gonna
is it?
add about 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. Excuse me. So we're kind of gonna let that
Get a little
get
hot.
a little hot.
Very high smoke point on vegetable oil, so I mean, you could get vegetable oil as hot as you want, and
Right.
it'll never smoke out your house.
We're gonna do 2 cups of rice for maybe a family of 4 or 5 people. Would be great.
So for one
With
dinner,
with the little leftovers. No, definitely
there's some leftovers. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And
Yeah,
we're
that's
gonna
good.
add that to the oil. And we're gonna wait till it gets a little light golden. So I will go ahead and get a spoon.
You're like sauteing this rice at
We're
this point.
sauteing this rice.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so a few minutes, saute the rice. We'll come back and show you when it's golden brown and build the rest of it.
Yep.
This is starting to get a little bubbly in here.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to get a little color, a little bubbly. Now what?
We're gonna add about 1/4 of an onion, already chopped.
Does it matter? White onion, yellow onion?
Doesn't matter. I always seem to buy white or Spanish onions.
Okay.
This happens to be a white onion.
Okay. And you just kind of mix that in and
Yeah,
saute it
I'll
in
mix
with the
that in.
rice?
Yep.
While you throw that in the sink, I think I qualify to mix the onions in. I can tell you this, it already smells good. Oh yeah, look, Rob, come in.
told you.
Look, this rice.
Yeah.
This rice is starting to get a little color to it.
So we only need about a couple more minutes sauteing that onion. And then we're gonna drain the oil and add our garlic.
All right, be back. So I'm like, okay, are we ready to strain this rice? And she's like, yeah. I go, where's the strainer? She goes, no strainer.
I'm gonna do it with the slotted spoon right here.
Wow.
I will
don't
go
know
very.
that I'd be able to do this.
I mean, I might get some of the rice in there,
Which
but
is not bad because it's a fat content for
Right.
the rice. I mean, I think
we're
it's a good amount. Yeah, that's a good amount.
Yeah.
But you still, I mean, they're still shiny in there, which means some of that fat from the vegetable oil is still in there.
So I took about 1 clove of garlic, and I used my little chopper right here.
That's a handy little tool.
I love this thing, and I'll just add it. And then we'll go ahead and add our other ingredients, which is some tomatoes. So these are whole peeled tomatoes that I put in a blender, and I've used about half of this can.
So you just blended those until you like the way that they look.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. They could be a little chunky.
If you want them smoother, just blend them longer.
Exactly. And then I'm going to add a piece of celery, a piece of bell pepper, a piece of cilantro, just very little. And I cut up a little bit of chopped carrots. This is optional. You can use carrots, you can use peas. Just depends on whatever your preference is.
I've officially never seen anything like this. So we've entered into that category of my life of I never thought that this was going to be something that I would see.
So for 2 cups of rice, I have 4 cups of broth.
By the way, homemade broth. But don't feel bad if you don't have homemade broth. Oh, I see some onions in there. I actually saw some pork drippings in there.
Well,
So,
chicken.
hey, by the way,
It's
pro
chicken,
tip
chicken.
right there. Don't throw that stuff away. You could just make stock with it. I mean, this is a pro. That's why you just see that they have homemade.
So although that was broth, it's not highly seasoned with a lot of salt. So I do still use about a hefty tablespoon of bouillon.
Which I use this for all of my bouillon.
Yes.
This is the best kept secret in the world.
Yes, I agree.
Caldo is unbelievable secret that a lot of the Latin community knows about, but the whites out there, they don't get it. But if you want bouillon, that's it.
So I'm going to bring this to a boil. I'm going to cover it. And then as soon as it comes to a boil, I'm going to put it on a simmer for about 20 minutes.
So boil, cover, simmer.
Simmer 20 minutes. But the thing of it is that I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to keep the lid on, and it's still going to kind of continue to cook for a little while when I take out the flame.
And then how long after that would you normally serve it?
10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, so leave that lid on, move it off of the heat because that iron is still hot
Right.
after the, okay, all right. All right, so rice is cooking, the tortillas are resting. We're gonna roll some of those bad boys out, get those onto, I mean, you must use this a lot.
Yeah, I do.
This gets used in this household a lot. Did your mom call it a comal or?
Yes.
Yeah, look at that. I know some stuff too. So
She
what's
had
up?
a really nice one. I mean, it was all warped.
Yeah, but this is,
and
I mean, yeah,
everything.
like this is good stuff. So, all right, rice is cooking, tortillas are resting, ribs are on the grill. I'm getting hungry here. So, come back. All right, 20 minutes in. I think this guy's ready. How do you know if it's ready or not?
You don't. I mean, it's just
20 minutes is the
20
number.
minutes is the number.
All right,
Mom
let's
said.
see.
Yeah. So
Now teach me how to roll this. How do you roll it?
I roll it like a big meatball. So I just
Okay.
grab it with my hands.
Okay, give me the first one and then you grab yours. That's big.
So then, and it might be. I mean,
So,
I kind of gauge it after I do my first one if I think.
I
it's
see
too
this
big.
little kind of, it's
And I
almost like
just kind of fold it in a little,
okay.
and I just put it like
Oh,
that.
that's it.
That's it.
Oh, I was thinking we were gonna be
No,
rolling
you
and.
just fold it in.
Okay, just fold it in and just like that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna roll all these out. Then these also have to sit
Sit for about 15 minutes.
another 15 minutes. So
I
we're gonna roll
usually
these
get
out.
about a dozen to 15 of them.
Out of this batch.
Out of this
So a
batch.
dozen to 15 out of this batch. Roll them into these kind of, it's almost like a pizza dough looking type of thing.
A little bit.
And then 15 minutes, then we're gonna get this hot. we're gonna make some tortillas. 15 minutes is up. She's gonna teach me how to roll these out. Donnie's tripping over dogs. Let's see what these look like.
Okay.
All right.
So I have a little flour on the side here.
By the way, this is getting really hot over here.
Okay, so I'm going to lower this just a little bit.
We get this is cast iron.
Yes.
So the cast iron goes to medium. 15 minutes rest once they're into this form. Show me how to roll these because I'm horrible at it.
Okay, so we have a little flour on the side here that we want to use just for rolling out our tortilla.
Just so like
here.
it doesn't stick? Or?
So it doesn't stick, right.
Okay.
And then we just want to dip it into the flour. And that's why you want to leave it a little sticky when you're
Because you're going to add
because
some
you're going to
flour.
add a little bit flour.
Okay.
And you want to use your weight on this.
Okay.
And I'm not the perfect flour tortilla person. I mean, it's not a perfect circle. But
It's pretty damn good though. Right
you just
now.
keep flipping it.
Mine ends up looking like like an octagon or something. It's got all kinds of sides and edges and corners to it.
And you just want to make it until you don't want to see transparency. You just want to make it nice thin.
All right,
so
let's
I'm
make
just
this
going to put it right on here.
All right.
And what we're doing, we're going to put that on there. It's probably about, I'm going to say 30 seconds on each side. But the way you know it's ready is when it starts to bubble. So we're
But
going to
we
go.
also have butter and the hot sauce waiting.
Yes, because that's how Mom would eat them. Butter and hot sauce with a little bit of salt.
So let's do this. Before we roll out any, let's cook this one.
All right.
You butter and hot sauce one. We'll roll it up, cut it in half, and we'll try it.
Okay.
All right.
We'll do that.
Because I can't stand here for another 15 or
Oh.
20 minutes while we do this and just see these beautiful tortillas
You can see
sitting
the
in front of
bubbles
me
starting
without eating
form-
them.
Forming.
All right, we gave it a flip. I don't know how it's ready. You know
It's
that
ready.
it's ready.
It's ready. We're gonna go ahead and put some butter on this. And we want, you could be generous with your butter. We're gonna do a splash of salt and a little hot sauce.
All right, so you don't kill it with hot sauce. You just kind of
No.
give it a little flavor.
We're gonna do half and half here because Nick and I are gonna share. Oh, this is actually very hot.
I can eat about 7,000 of these.
And there you go.
Look at that.
The dripping is
Oh
nice.
yeah, the dripping is good.
Right?
You don't even need meat in there.
Uh-uh.
Oh my god.
That's the best. So we're gonna continue to make these.
We're gonna finish these I'm gonna finish this. We're gonna finish rolling out the tortillas. The rice is almost done. The ribs are ready to come off. It's gonna be an absolute feast. Stay tuned.
Okay, so we took them off the grill. And
Is that the color?
This is the color that you want. You want them to be browned. They've been soaking in their juices and browning up, and they're all ready.
Smells like ridiculous.
So we're gonna make our sauce for it. I took off those peppers that we roasted on the grill, and now we are gonna add a can of whole tomatoes. And about a quarter size of salt.
Here we go with the quarter size again.
Yeah, I like the quarter size a lot.
Yes, she likes the
You
quarter
want to be
size.
generous. And we are gonna blend that up.
Now, I have to imagine sometimes you do this, it's super spicy because you don't know.
You don't know how the peppers are gonna be.
And then sometimes it's mild,
Exactly.
depending on where you buy the peppers, the time of year, or whatever.
Time of year.
So do you tell your family, like, you sit down and you go, good luck, we don't know?
We don't know how hot it's gonna be.
Okay.
And
What do
then-
you call this sauce? Like, what is this even?
This is chile. We call it chile, not chili like chili beans, but this is chile,
Chile.
which is hot sauce.
Okay.
And we're just gonna soak this in the ribs.
Do you need like a spoon to like just mix it up a little
Yes,
bit?
and we are gonna simmer this for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then you're good to go.
I mean, I think I would just eat that like right now.
I know, but you want it
we
to.
we have
wanna
to give it
soak
15
it in
minutes.
there.
All right, so we'll soak this. The rice is almost done. This thing's gonna come together here very shortly. The rice is ready. There's a little trick technique here.
Yes.
I didn't know there was gonna be a trick technique. She said, you gotta see the technique. Go ahead.
So I had that little piece of celery and piece of cilantro. You want to take it out because it's whole pieces in there. And there's a green pepper in there.
By the way, that was not planned. She got it in one swipe. I don't know. Did you know that it was right there?
Well, I knew it would be somewhere on top.
Why on top, though? Why wouldn't it be on the bottom?
I just don't know.
Is it always on the top?
It's usually on the top, yeah.
Is there science behind this that we
I
don't know? I don't know if there is. But
So
look at how
it
good
is ready.
this
It's fluffy. It's ready.
Oh my god.
It's delicious.
So good. Okay, so that's done. Now look at this. 15 minutes.
Yeah, we
Like just
simmered
like a simmer, right?
Just a simmer.
Look at this.
Go to the bottom.
Go to the bottom, she says. Oh my
Sauce.
god. Look at the I mean the meat's just we're not going to wait. We can't wait. Oh my god, it's so hot. I'm burning myself.
Delish.
You gotta make sure you eat around the bones. Remember, each of those pieces, because we cut two, right? Each of those pieces has two bones, but if you had some of these tortillas and that sauce, you just kind of like just kind of use the tortilla to mash the meat off of the bone, scoop up some of that sauce. These jalapenos are a little spicy.
They were spicy.
But for me, that's like the perfect thing.
Yeah.
All right, so tortilla's done, this is done, rice is done. We got everyone coming over. Let's go get all this stuff plated. I think we got some cool pictures that you took out that we're gonna show. We're getting to the time that everyone's gonna come eat. Stay tuned. There's no words that you have to say right now after the day that we just went through and all the cooking and the friends and everything that we did. I want this to speak for itself. Let's have a moment of silence for this perfectly prepared rice. Look at these ribs falling off the bone. The perfect tortillas. I mean, this is just an absolute feast. Everyone that's at this party is like dying right now outside. They can smell it. We can smell it. This has been so much fun. I can tell you this, every time that I've done this, I've learned something, not only about someone's family, but I learned about a technique that I didn't know. I never knew that a spare rib can come like that.
Yeah.
And I know that I have a big cleaver. I could cut spare ribs like that. I could make this no
I don't
problem.
think I can do it.
Because I don't think I have like the big cleaver. I don't think places in Arizona do this. I've never had this dish. I can't wait to try it. It's steaming hot, but
I bet you can ask the butcher just to
to cut some spare ribs like that. But I mean, this is made with love from when you grew up.
Yep.
And I can tell the way that your mom did this every single day for your family was not only out of necessity, right, to feed the family, but she did it in the most authentic way that you possibly could. And that's how I feel after going through the process with you.
Yeah.
And I just know that wherever she is right now, she's got a smile on her face based on what you've done to carry on her legacy. Would you? Hopefully, you would agree with that.
She taught me well. I mean, I love cooking. It's my passion. I love being in the kitchen. I love, just all her recipes.
Yeah. So this was super special. Hope that you learned something. Feel free to make any of this stuff as we walk you through the process. But until we see you again, get in the kitchen like Laura. Feed your family. Keep cooking. Look at all of this beautiful spread. Now it's time to go eat. Until we see you again, keep cooking.
Goodbye.